The Maxton Hall Season 3 trailer looks calm on the surface, almost too calm. But hidden inside a few seconds of dialogue, one silent stare, and one blink and you miss it moment are spoilers that completely change how this story ends. And if these leaks are true, then everything Ruby and James fought for is about to be tested in ways no one was ready for. Some secrets were never meant to come out, but now that they have, there's no turning back. Section 1. When the Maxton Hall Season 3 trailer finally dropped, most fans thought it was just another emotional tease. A little drama, a little romance, and a promise of closure. But once you slow it down and really listen to what's being said, and more importantly, what isn't, the trailer starts telling a very different story. One that feels darker, heavier, and far more dangerous than anything we've seen before. Because Season 3 isn't just about fixing what broke in Season 2, it's about exposing lies that were buried long before Ruby ever stepped foot into Maxton Hall. The trailer opens with Ruby at her lowest point yet. And that alone should worry you. This isn't the confident, hopeful Ruby we met in Season 1. This is someone who looks cornered, exhausted, and betrayed. The leaked spoilers confirm that her suspension is only the beginning. Behind the scenes, powerful people are actively working to make sure her Oxford dream doesn't just pause. It disappears forever. And the most painful part? All signs are deliberately pointing toward James as the reason her life is falling apart, whether he knows it or not. That's where the trailer starts playing its biggest trick. On the surface, it makes James look distant, cold, almost guilty. But leaked production notes suggest that this emotional distance isn't betrayal. It's protection. James is fighting a war on two fronts, one against his father's legacy and another against the truth about what really happened to Cordelia. And the trailer subtly hints that James may already know more than he's letting on. He's just running out of time. Meanwhile, the Bowford family tension is no longer simmering. It's boiling over. Mortimer's shadow looms over nearly every moment in the trailer, even when he isn't physically present. According to leaks, his control over the family empire tightens in Season 3, but that control comes at a cost. Old documents, old signatures, and one decision made years ago that directly ties back to Cordelia's death. The trailer never says this out loud, but it doesn't have to. The weight is there, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Then there's Percy, and this is where things get unsettling. The trailer gives him very little screen time, but every second matters. His silence is louder than any argument. Leaked spoilers suggest Percy has been holding onto a truth that could shatter the Bowford name completely. A truth connected to the key-shaped locket, the will, and a promise that was never meant to be broken. Season 3 doesn't ask whether Percy will speak up. It asks how much damage will be done once he does. What makes this trailer so powerful isn't what it shows, it's what it withholds. No clear villains, no clear heroes, just broken trust, shifting loyalties, and a love story hanging by a thread. Ruby and James aren't just fighting the world anymore. They're fighting doubt. By the time the Maxton Hall Season 3 trailer reaches its final moments, the story stops feeling like a mystery and starts feeling like a countdown. Because this is the point where the leaks suggest that the truth is no longer hidden in whispers. It's right there, waiting to explode. And once it does, there's no version of Maxton Hall that survives unchanged. One of the biggest leaked spoilers revolves around Cordelia's will. Not just what's written in it, but what was intentionally left out. According to insider information, the will wasn't misunderstood, it was altered. Certain clauses were delayed. Others were buried under legal confusion. And the trailer quietly hints at this through tense conversations and loaded pauses. Cordelia didn't just leave money behind, she left instructions. Instructions that would have protected James and Lydia from everything Mortimer later turned them into. And someone made sure those instructions never came to light. This is where Percy's storyline becomes impossible to ignore. Leaks suggest Percy knew about the will far earlier than anyone realized. Not all of it, but enough to understand the danger. Enough to know that if the truth came out at the wrong time, it wouldn't just destroy Mortimer, it would destroy James too. That's the burden Percy carries in Season 3. Not choosing sides, but choosing timing. And the trailer makes it painfully clear that his silence is coming to an end. Meanwhile, James is reaching a breaking point of his own. The trailer shows him standing at emotional crossroads again and again, and leaks confirm that Season 3 forces him to confront something he's avoided his entire life. The idea that loyalty to his family has always come at the cost of himself. James begins to realize that everything he thought was protection was actually control. And the hardest truth of all is that Ruby didn't push him away. The system around him did. Ruby's arc in this section becomes quieter, but heavier. According to spoilers, she stops trying to prove her innocence to people who already decided her fate. Instead, she starts asking a far more dangerous question. What if she doesn't want this world anymore? The trailer hints at moments where Ruby looks almost detached, like she's already halfway gone. And that's terrifying, because this isn't weakness, it's acceptance. Acceptance that fighting endlessly can hollow a person out. This emotional shift changes everything. James senses it. The distance between them isn't loud anymore. It's final. Leaked dialogue suggests there's a moment where James realizes that losing Ruby isn't about someone else taking her away. It's about her choosing herself. And for the first time, if Section 1 was about realizing something is wrong, then Section 2 is where the truth starts pressing in from all sides. Because as the Maxton Hall Season 3 trailer continues, one thing becomes painfully clear. This season is not about misunderstandings anymore. It's about manipulation. And the leaked spoilers suggest that Ruby and James are being pushed apart on purpose, step by step, by people who know exactly where to strike. Ruby's storyline in Season 3 is the emotional backbone of everything. The trailer shows her trying to stay strong, but the cracks are everywhere. According to leaks, her suspension is being quietly extended behind closed doors, with evidence twisted just enough to keep her powerless. And the most disturbing part is how isolated she becomes. Friends hesitate. Teachers look the other way. Even the system she trusted starts treating her like a problem that needs to be erased. The trailer never says this directly, but you can feel it. Ruby isn't just fighting to clear her name. She's fighting to exist in a world that suddenly doesn't want her there. And then comes the biggest emotional knife twist. James. The trailer frames him as the possible reason behind Ruby's downfall, and that's exactly what the people pulling the strings want. Leaked spoilers reveal that James is being fed false information, half-truths designed to make him believe that stepping back is the only way to protect Ruby. But that distance only makes things worse, because from Ruby's point of view, it feels like abandonment, like the one person who always chose her finally didn't. This is where Season 3 becomes brutal, not loud, not explosive, just quietly devastating. Every conversation feels heavier. Every pause lasts too long. The trailer shows moments where Ruby looks like she wants to say something but stops herself. And leaks confirm that she begins to doubt not just James, but her own worth, her own future, her own voice. This isn't a love story falling apart because of hate. It's falling apart because of silence. Meanwhile, inside the Bowford family, the pressure reaches a breaking point. Mortimer's grip. By the end of the Maxton Hall Season 3 trailer, the feeling isn't excitement anymore. It's weight, the kind that settles in your chest and doesn't leave. Because this final chapter isn't promising a fairy tale ending, it's promising truth. And truth, in this world, comes with consequences. The leaked spoilers suggest that everything finally comes to light at once. Cordelia's will, the manipulation behind Ruby's suspension, the lies that kept James trapped in a role he never chose. The trailer hints that when the truth surfaces, it doesn't arrive gently. It tears through the Bowford family like a storm that's been waiting years to break. Mortimer isn't exposed through anger or revenge. He's exposed through evidence. Cold, undeniable. And once that happens, his power disappears almost instantly. Not with drama, with silence. Percy's confession becomes the turning point. Leaks reveal that he finally speaks, not to save himself, but to end the cycle. The guilt he carried wasn't about loyalty, it was about fear. Fear that telling the truth too early would destroy the wrong people. But by the time he speaks, it's clear that waiting caused more damage than honesty ever could. His words don't just free James and Lydia, they free the future Cordelia tried to protect. James's final choice is the emotional core of the season. According to spoilers, he walks away from the Empire. Not because he loses it, but because he refuses to inherit something built on control. The trailer frames this moment quietly. No grand speeches, just a decision that changes everything. James finally chooses himself, and in doing so, he becomes someone worthy of love, not because of his name, but because of his courage. Ruby's ending is just as powerful, but in a different way. The leak suggests that her name is cleared, her suspension overturned, and her Oxford dream restored. But the most important victory isn't academic, it's personal. Ruby no longer begs to be believed. She stands firm in who she is. The trailer hints that she doesn't return to Maxton Hall the same person. She returns stronger, quieter, untouchable. As for Ruby and James together, Season 3 doesn't rush their resolution. The trailer suggests their reunion is careful, honest, and earned. They don't pretend the past didn't hurt. They don't erase the damage. They acknowledge it. And that's what makes their ending feel real. Love doesn't save them. Truth does. Love just survives because of it. The final moments of the trailer don't focus on power or wealth. They focus on choice. Who stays, who leaves, and who finally breaks free from a legacy that was never meant to define them. Maxton Hall. Season 3 isn't about winning. It's about ending something that should have ended a long time ago. And when it's over, one thing is clear. Some stories aren't meant to go on forever. They're meant to end. Exactly when the truth can no longer be ignored. If Section 1 was about realizing something is wrong, then Section 2 is where the truth starts pressing in from all sides. Because as the Maxton Hall Season 3 trailer continues, one thing becomes painfully clear. This season is not about misunderstandings anymore. It's about manipulation. And the leaked spoilers suggest that Ruby and James are being pushed apart on purpose, step by step, by people who know exactly where to strike. Ruby's storyline in Season 3 is the emotional backbone of everything. The trailer shows her trying to stay strong, but the cracks are everywhere. According to leaks, her suspension is being quietly extended behind closed doors, with evidence twisted just enough to keep her powerless. And the most disturbing part is how isolated she becomes. Friends hesitate. Teachers look the other way. Even the system she trusted starts treating her like a problem that needs to be erased. The trailer never says this directly, but you can feel it. Ruby isn't just fighting to clear her name. She's fighting to exist in a world that suddenly doesn't want her there. And then comes the biggest emotional knife twist. James. The trailer frames him as the possible reason behind Ruby's downfall, and that's exactly what the people pulling the strings want. Leaked spoilers reveal that James is being fed false information, half-truths designed to make him believe that stepping back is the only way to protect Ruby. But that distance only makes things worse. Because from Ruby's point of view, it feels like abandonment. Like the one person who always chose her finally didn't. This is where Season 3 becomes brutal. Not loud, not explosive, just quietly devastating. Every conversation feels heavier.